Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is Dr. Carmen McGuinness coming to you from Sarasota, Florida, where I am here on site for the Medieval Festival and also just working on the end of my most recent psychological romance, The Girl Who Stole My Life, which will be releasing this coming May. So, this week, well, before I talk about this week, let me talk about a little bit about what I do on this channel. So on this channel, I present on the topics relating to relationships of all sorts. In particular, the relationship that we have with ourselves, what I call the primary relationship. So today, I'm presenting, the topic is what happens in the mind of the narcissist between love bombing and when it all falls apart. So this is a big question, and an awful lot has been written and said on the internet and other popular media about the narcissist behavior, love bombing, triangulation, ghosting. We all know what these are. There's a lot been said about this, and I think we pretty popularly know what that means. However, what we don't know is what goes on in the mind of the narcissist during these behaviors. So we know what motivates the narcissist: attention, your admiration, what experts call narcissistic supply, and we know what is the experience of the recipient of the narcissist behavior, the pain, the emotional trauma that occurs and sometimes lasts years after the end of the relationship. But despite the vast amount of information out there in the popular media about all of the above, little has been written or spoken about what happens in the mind of the narcissist between love bombing and when it all falls apart. Yes, we know he or she needs narcissistic supply, but what is he or she actually thinking during this phase? And a little disclaimer here, we all tend to say he when we talk about the narcissist. Yes, there is a dramatic sex difference between men and women and narcissism. That's not the only reason. A lot of the reason is it's just he that we tend to refer to when we tend to humankind. So I know some people have given me thumbs down about this. That's okay. It is what it is, and I'm not gonna risk not reading well when I do these presentations so that I can say he and she all the time. I'm just going to say what comes out. Sometimes it's he and she, and sometimes it's he. So, that said, he or she is probably not thinking, I need you to pay attention to me because my mother didn't. Nor is he likely to be thinking, I didn't develop a normal, healthy ego or any ego at all, really, so I need you to reflect me so that I can see how important, beautiful, and loved I am. Now, I know often when these presentations occur on the internet, there's a sort of almost a scowl. You know, it's like these people are somewhat despicable because they've hurt people. But for me, I tend to feel sorry for them. So forgive me if that's what comes across, but that's kind of how I feel. If he was thinking these things, he could probably be helped. If he was thinking everything I just said, he could probably be helped. But the reality is that he's not, and he probably can't be helped. And that's what makes the narcissist particularly sad. So what exactly is he thinking? Excuse me. In this segment, I'll present from the perspective of the narcissist, investigating what it is that he or she experiences between love bombing and the bitter end of the relationship. To start, it's important to fully grasp what I just said about his early bonding with his primary caregiver, usually his mother. She may not have been a bad person. It's possible that she herself was the victim of a challenging childhood, or that she just was critically distracted by life's challenges. I've worked with mothers and the children of mothers who were overwhelmed by abandonment, on or underemployment, illness, or the birth of a second child too close in age. And certainly there are just rotten parents out there, too. We won't deny that bad people exist and that they have children and that they critically fail those children sometimes. This video isn't intended to get to the bottom of all that goes wrong in the evolution of a narcissist, but it is important to understand why he or she has no self-esteem, because that is the core problem. No self-reflection and no empathy, so that we can understand why he or she does what they do. And not to excuse it in any way. Sorry, I'm outside by the sea here. That's the ocean pounding behind me, and it does seem to have gotten to my throat. So it's what I'm saying is not to excuse their behavior in any way, but rather to give us power over that behavior. So children, all children, learn who they are through the eyes of their parents. That we even exist is known to us, tiny infants. No self-knowledge whatsoever is in our awareness until our parents feed it to us. It's known to us because of our parents. They feed it to us through our eyes, our very existence, through their eyes. It is quite literally that we are seen that allows us to know that we exist. And this is what he or she never got or didn't get enough of as an infant. And usually this happens in infancy. It's almost as if he's in desperate need of parenting and parental love, but has grown too old, too willful, and too empty for any of it to stick. And there's also that very sad truth that you aren't his mommy, and no one can ever fill what was missing decades earlier. So no matter how much you tell him he's a good boy or girl, a worthy boy, smart, good-looking, loved, it just won't stick. He doesn't believe it, and he fears you will see through him in time. See his stupidity, his ugliness, and just how unlovable he really is. And those words are in his own mind. That's not a judgment, it's how he sees himself. But let's start at the very beginning, the beginning of your relationship with him or her. In the beginning, he meets you. You seem to like him, possibly a lot. You smile, you kiss, you hold hands. You do all the things that tell him how worthy he is. He love bombs because he wants you to believe that he's the most amazing lover ever, that you are soulmates, that you cannot live without him. It's as if he's filling up his saddlebags for the very long trip across the desert. And it's as if he knows they are really leaky bags. So he just keeps dumping more love in. Crazy love, so crazy it earned the title of love bombing. This, all of it, is his immature version of love. Very immature. But don't make the mistake of thinking it can grow into the real deal. Remember that leak. It's the narcissist, not his feelings for you, that need maturing. And as we just said, it's too late for a healthy mommy-son bond to occur. So there you are, head over heels in love with this Romeo who's fallen into your life and probably into your bed. But something isn't quite right. You sort of know it, but the love bombing feels, or felt, if it's already subsiding, so nice. Within a very short time, he starts to resent you because you might recognize his need. And he recognizes his need already. Remember the leak. You aren't giving him enough admiration because no one can. You aren't giving him enough attention, enough supply, because you're not his doting mother. You're not the mother that didn't do that. No one ever will be. The chance of that ending well was lost decades earlier. He begins not only to resent you, much like the drug addict resents his supplier, but he also begins to fear your expectations of him because he believes he's unworthy and knows that in the end he will fail you. And failing you, ultimately, will reveal him. He fears you getting to know him better, lest you see through his facade. And if he's revealed, he'll die, he'll cease to be, because your image of him is all that he is. Remember, he has no self-image, just what you feed him, just what you reflect. So in order to protect himself from being found out, he remains emotionally unavailable. And this is something he's good at, something he learned from his mummy. And any guilt he might have about distancing himself is forgiven because he resents you, resents the need he has for you to fill him, to reflect him so that he knows he exists. And in the absence of his mother's eyes, decades earlier, he lacks the self-reflection to think it through. And of course, the empathy to talk it through. So there you are. That's what's in the mind of the narcissist between love bombing and the bitter end. I know this is a really sad presentation. Not much upbeat or even angry here. And this is why it's hard to stay angry with the narcissist, isn't it? Because he's sad. But I do hope this has been helpful. And I hope, really what I deeply hope, is that you can use this to help yourself find peace. And if necessary, depending on where you are in this process, from the love bombing to the bitter end, to help yourself find a way out. So, as always, I wish you a happy week, and I will remind you that I'm here for you on the internet if you need me. I see clients on a HIPAA-secure web platform, and just reach out to me if you want to talk further. So, have a good week. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you next week.